We hear it all the time, right? Freedom is the ultimate goal. But what if having all those choices is actually just half the story? Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful idea that kind of redefines freedom and transforms it from just potential chaos into something that's truly meaningful and personal.
So here's the core idea. If you don't check it, freedom can just become a life of scattered goals and endless distractions. It's like a constant cacophony of shoulds and coulds pulling you in a million different directions. It's just noise. But, and this is the good part, when you add a little intention, when you actually take a second to reflect on what really matters to you, that same freedom, well, it starts to sound like a beautifully composed piece of music. It has harmony, it has purpose, and it has a rhythm that is totally, uniquely yours.
Okay, so that's a pretty beautiful metaphor, but it leads to a very practical question. How do we actually become the composers of our own lives? How do we go from being just passive listeners of all that random noise to being the active creators of our own unique music? All right, let's ground this whole thing in a simple but really powerful model. I want you to just imagine that your mind is like a bathroom sink, a simple vessel just sitting there, waiting to be filled. So, what's filling this sink? Well, the water. That's life. It's every conversation you have, every new idea you stumble across, every single experience that flows into your consciousness. And that faucet, it's pretty much always on, constantly letting that stream of life trickle in.
But here's the crucial part. That flow isn't always the same, is it? Sometimes it's just a tiny drip, drip, drip. And other times, it's a full-on torrent. So what's the valve? What's the mechanism that decides whether we're just kind of skimming the surface of life or if we're going to dive deep into its currents?
That valve, well, that's curiosity. Curiosity is the multiplier. When it's engaged, you don't just open the tap a little bit. Oh no, you blast it wide open. You let all the richness of life just flood in. It's really the engine that powers a deeper, more vibrant experience of the world around you. But hold on, it's not quite as simple as just being more curious. And this leads to a really critical distinction we have to make. Are all forms of curiosity actually created equal? The answer is a hard no. And understanding that difference, well, that's the real key to composing your music.
So on one side, you have intrinsic curiosity. This is the deep stuff. It's that unwavering pull from inside you, that genuine fascination you have with a topic just for its own sake. It's beautifully described as being like a lit candle in a blizzard. It might be hard to find, but once you get it lit, it's incredibly resilient. Then, on the other side, you've got extrinsic curiosity. This is the stuff sparked by external triggers. A catchy headline, a social media trend. It's super easy to ignite, for sure, but it's like a firework. A big flash, and then it fizzles out just as fast.
So, why don't we all just follow that powerful intrinsic flame all the time? Well, the answer lies in this huge modern obstacle. Our brains are absolutely wired for instant gratification. Evolutionarily, we're designed to look for quick rewards. And in today's world of endless notifications and quick hits of information, that deep, slow-burn curiosity, it often just doesn't provide that immediate payoff. It makes it a really tough sell.
And this gets compounded by fear. There's this nagging anxiety that comes with the slow burn, right? It's the fear of the unknown journey. That voice that says, what if I invest years learning this skill or months on this project and it all just leads nowhere? That fear of wasted effort can be totally paralyzing.
And this is where a quote, often attributed to the great Jim Carrey, gives us such a powerful reframe. You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. Just let that sink in for a second. It cuts right to the heart of it all. That so-called safe path, the one you're not really passionate about, it isn't actually safe. If failure is always a possibility, why not risk it on something you are genuinely, intrinsically curious about? And this really points to the solution. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about redefining what success even means. It's about learning to love the process, the challenges, the setbacks, the little wins. When you can find joy in just being in that pool of curiosity, the outcome starts to become secondary. The journey itself becomes the reward.
Okay, so how do we put all of this together? Let's end with one final image, a simple little thought experiment to bring this whole idea into sharp focus. I want you to picture it clearly in your mind. Sitting on a table, right in front of you, is a single, big, red button. And right above that button, there's a simple handwritten sign. It just says 3 words, do not press. So, what's your first instinct? That immediate pull, that nagging little question of, but why not? That is curiosity in its purest form. So the real question is, which curiosity are you listening to in your own life? Are you following all the external signs telling you what to do and what not to do? Or are you listening to that deep intrinsic urge to find out for yourself? What does your curiosity tell you to do?